Okay, guys, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the numbers, let's talk about the general overview, the vision, the theory, the model of what we're trying to accomplish here. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to go to my white pad and we're going to see how this works, show you guys in real time how it works. Okay, so if you're coming from a single family background, you understand ARV, right? After repair value. What is this thing going to be worth at the end of the day? So for a house, let's say it's in a neighborhood where the houses are worth $400,000 and you find a house that's distressed for $200,000. It's beat up, it needs repairs, and the ARV is 400K. You know that. You've pulled the comps and you figured that out. So the purchase price is 200K. It needs 50K in Reno, and it needs 10K in carrying costs. This is like interest and other miscellaneous costs. And then you maybe need another 20K in closing and legal and miscellaneous. So if everything goes well and you buy it for 200, and you put 50,000 into the renovation and 10 into the carry, 20 into the closing costs, you're going to be all in for $280,000, right? So that is your all-in price. And then you sell it for 400K, sell 400 minus your all-in cost, and you make 120K, right? So that's good. That's what we want. We want to be able to make money. And if you are familiar with this, you know, well, hey, I could have refinanced it. Maybe you do the Burr model and you say, okay, it's worth 400K now. The bank appraises it at 400K. They give you a loan of 300K and you pay off your costs of 280K. And you have 20K left in profit, and you have a $400,000 house, right? There's $100,000 in equity there, and you can rent it out and you can keep it. And maybe you sell it in 5 years or 10 years. Maybe you never sell it. Maybe you give it to your kids. You can do this same thing with apartments, right? It's just a little bit bigger of a number, but the concepts are very, very similar. Okay. You can also have sold the house and take the money. You can do that with apartments as well. And so we are going to talk about a couple of major components to how can we figure this out. So the first thing we need to do is the ARV. We got to know, what is this apartment complex worth? What is it worth when it's done? So this is looking at the market. There's cap rates, there's net operating income, and there's specific mathematical ways that we can figure out fairly accurately what the after repair value of the apartment complex is going to be. Okay. And apartment complex doesn't necessarily need to be all screwed up and need a bunch of renovations. It could be just slight rent bumps, rent escalations over the next 5-10 years. It could be lowering expenses. It could be adding a utility bill back, but we've got to get a creative way to figure out what this ARV is going to be. The second thing we need to figure out is our costs. So this is renovations, right? Renovation, if does it need renovations? What's our closing costs? What's our carrying costs, like interest, the bank? Are we borrowing money from investors? What is that cost going to be? And everything that goes into that, like how long is it going to take? How long is the timeline going to be? Right? So the cost is going to be there. And then this will determine the profit. Now we can pretty accurately depict what we're going to make on this deal. And if this is worth it to us, right? If we're all in for less than 80% of the ARV, then maybe there's some profits to be made. And out of that profits, can we attract investors, right? Can we attract investors to partner with us with the deal? Are they going to make enough returns to make it worth it for them? And are you going to make enough returns to make it worth it for you? So this is the big thing. And we're going to dig into in the rest of this course, like, how do we figure this out accurately? How do we figure this out accurately? How do we figure this out accurately? And then we know how we can structure the deal.